Hey people, you're right to what? I'm Bwnci and this is Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Let's burn this shit to the ground with the Human Sentinel. Now, the Human Sentinel is good, just not that interesting. This is how I propose you spice things up. For Tech Armor, this is a passive ability that you can activate to reduce the damage that the enemy can do to your character at the cost of a 50% recharge speed bonus. This is honestly the best armor power in the game because where most cap out at a 40% damage reduction, Tech Armor is actually able to achieve that at just rank 4 with the durability evolution. So make sure you go ahead and get yourself sorted out with that. Then for rank 5, grab the power damage. This will give you a 30% power damage bonus as long as the Tech Armor is active. And then finally, get yourself durability again at rank 6. Okay, this gives you a 50% damage reduction, halving all damage that this character can take while in hard cover, making him a much tankier human being. Now, before you get the wrong idea, I'm not saying that Tech Armor only works in hard cover. What I'm actually saying is that the enemy get a 40% damage bonus to players who aren't in hard cover, which obviously is going to make the damage reduction a little less effective. But you're still looking at the healthiest base human character. Then you're going to go ahead and build Warp again, but on this occasion, I'm actually going to encourage you to build it for damage. Go ahead and get that evolution at rank 4. This is because when combined with Incendiary Rounds, Warp is capable of some truly ridiculous DPS. You may recall from my Human Adept guide how this works and how that combination was able to give us a really nice boost to weapon damage. Back then though, Incendiary Rounds were actually used to chain power combos. Since tech effects mask those of biotics, what you can do with that character is warp an enemy and then shoot them and cast Shockwave twice, which will detonate the fire effect and then the biotic one underneath. Or alternatively, you can shoot first and then use the warp shockwave combo, which will have warp detonate a fire explosion and then prime a biotic one simultaneously. As long as it's a different type of power combo, you can do stuff like that. Right now though, I'm recommending you use the Incendiary glitch to have some fun with your Human Sentinel, so go ahead and finish Warp up like usual with Expose and Pierce. We're not going to put any points in Throw because we don't need to detonate Warp. Just go to Alliance Training and get yourself weapon damage at rank 4, headshots at rank 5, and weapon damage again at rank 6, and then finish things up at Fitness with Durability, Shield Recharge, and Fitness Expert. That gives us something a little different, but the obvious strategy for the Human Sentinel is to, of course, detonate Warp with Throw. This produces a very strong power combo, which you can basically use to blow up any enemy that you don't gun down straight away. You can achieve this by only taking Tech Armor and your Fitness tree to rank 4, getting Detonate at rank 4 of Warp, and then building Throw for Radius, Detonate, and Force and Damage. That'll give you a very typical stun and gun strategy, which is all good, and of course you're welcome to it if it's good enough for you. Me, on the other hand, I want to roll out this way with a Reegar Carbine in hand, pimped out with the Shredder mod and high caliber barrel, so I have all the piercing and damage I need without any more penalties to my recharge speed. Alternatively, for my female, I like to pump the enemy with the particle rifle. You'll get the best results with the magazine upgrade and high velocity barrel. This will switch the challenge from closing the gap to sustaining the damage, which is why you can afford a longer recharge time. Then, of course, I want some Incendiary Rounds and a Shotgun Rail Lamp, coupled with a Cyclonic Modulator and the Stronghold package. This will let me survive close quarters, so I can do my damage. Now, let's get this party started. Okay, so the track is Thunderdome. We're going up against the Collectors on Hazard Glacier Gold. And for some reason, the team's doing the robot. I've got Myth here with the Geth Engineer, rolling a weapons build of the character with the Bloodpack Punisher. And Ghidorah's behind me with the Mighty Geth Juggernaut. Thank you guys, seriously, thank you for putting up with me and helping me get all these gameplays, but I'm going to give a special shout out to Mr. Rated82 here, who's rolling one of the creators. He's one of my donators that's helping out in getting this gameplay, and I'm going to take this opportunity to thank the rest of you. Okay, Tuna, Yoni, Matthias Frey, and Oscar Liljaby again. Thank you all for your donations. Okay, your amazing support is helping me grow ever closer to obtaining the El Gato game capture HD60, which is a sweet little device I've got my eyes on right now, which will help me bring true HD gameplay to the channel, but most importantly, some PlayStation 4 footage in the future. But right now, let's focus on the Human Sentinel with the Reegar Carbine. A sweet little package, because the Human Sentinel's got some great defenses to allow you to get in and use the Riga properly. Things to note about the Reegar Carbine is there's like a quarter-second delay in firing the weapon once you've pulled the trigger. It's really quite minor. You're probably not even going to notice it without me telling you. But one thing you definitely want to take note of, if you're going to go ahead and tank an A-bomb like so, and then continue to fight the Scion behind it, make sure your ops pack works. Okay, one thing I'm definitely not going to miss is this Xbox 360 D-pad. I really didn't think such a control system could be messed up so badly in this day and age, but I digress. Let's focus on the Riga, which, despite being called a carbine, is fully automatic, okay? And firing the weapon will actually slow the movement of most classes, the humans included. But what you'll definitely notice is this pattern. This set pattern of blue fuzzy death which it shoots, okay, which is why the accuracy bar in the weapon screen for the Reegar Carbine is blank, or rather completely empty, because it receives no benefit from accuracy bonuses a la the Smart Choke, so really don't waste that mod slot on the Smart Choke, or use on something like the Geth Engineer here, okay, because Hunter Mode's not going to improve the accuracy of the Reegar Carbine. As a result of this set pattern, it is one of only a few weapons in the game that has a range cap, which honestly could afford to be a whole lot lower, okay? Some people are intimidated by the close quarters that this gun works in, but the Riga is the most positively broken weapon in the game, okay? Its DPS far exceeds that of any other. It is unashamedly the most powerful weapon in the game, capable of firing 8 projectiles about 1,000 times per minute. And the damage is actually only made more insane with the weapon's 2 times damage multiplier to shields and barriers, which, as you can see, just completely dissolves all trooper enemies. The only real setback of the Riga is its 0.5 multiplier against armor, which halves its damage against bosses and the like. But this is a minor setback too, okay, because it's quickly resolved by the use of Incendiary Rounds and haha myth. Also, a more earnest use of the weapon can also be achieved with armor piercing or armor weakening bonuses. This is because the way damage is calculated in this game, it basically situates all your multiplying bonuses at the end of the damage formula. So all of your typical weapon damage bonuses will sort of come in and increase your damage well before your 0.5 multiplier comes in and decreases it. Another thing to note as well is that armor mitigation is only ever subtracted on contact. So, you know, your damage is already calculated at this point. And even in the worst case scenario, okay, armor mitigation is never going to lower your damage to any less than 5, okay? Basically, all projectiles will do a minimum of 5 damage against armor. So this build is still really set, okay? We're still doing over 12,000 damage to armor in a single clip, okay? And you can knock out a single clip of the Reegar Carbine in about 2 seconds due to its incredible rate of fire, which is why things just get so cheesy when you add Incendiary Rounds to the mix, because as I was sort of spitballed in my Human Adept video, this is just me guessworking, okay? I don't actually know if this is true, but I'd assume that with a gun like this, using Incendiary Rounds would completely blow the processor of whatever you're running this game on, okay? Because Incendiary Rounds, like any other ammo bonus, inflicts its damage over time rather than instantly. So, you know, if you were to just empty a clip of the Reegar Carbine with Incendiary Rounds into an enemy, you'd probably stack up so many dot effects, it would probably just be crazy to process. So I think the fix to this was to make Incendiary Rounds absorb other Incendiary Rounds. So rather than just have multiple dot effects, the damage of any other rounds is basically added to that of the original shot, and basically done all at the same time, okay? So you're only ever going to have one dot effect go in, but it can just be made stronger and stronger with each additional round you add into the mix, okay? This sort of damage over time is sort of does its damage in what is traditionally known as a tick, okay? it takes 3 seconds to get the Incendiary Round damage out, and the damage is inflicted every half a second during this time. So it's basically every 0.5 seconds there's an interval of damage, and this is what is known as a tick. And these ticks can basically just grow exponentially with more Incendiary Rounds and other powers. Okay, so the damage of other powers also gets absorbed into this crazy fire, I guess. You know, this ever-growing flame that you can put on the enemy, because these particular powers tick out damage the same. All right, they do. Their damage ticks out at a half-second interval as well. So as far as the game's concerned, that's just more Incendiary Rounds. Better add it up, and. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately with my tongue in my cheek here, because this actually works out greatly in our benefit. When it takes the damage of these certain powers, it also takes their particular multipliers, which just lets the damage get truly ridiculous. Okay, Incendiary Rounds will stack the damage of Incinerate dot. Okay, as I mentioned, Incinerate, the listed damage of Incinerate, 25% of that is dot, and that 25% will be eaten up by Incendiary Rounds and added to its own damage. And if you went ahead and used the armor damage evolution in Incinerate, there's a lot of very similar sounding words here. You'll have to forgive me if I get a little tongue-tied. If you go ahead and use that, you're going to have 2 1.5 multipliers against armor, and also you're going to take the innate 0.5 multiplier to shields and barriers that Incinerate has. That might not seem great, honestly. That's half damage. Why would I want my Incendiary Rounds to do half damage to shields and barriers? This is because your Incendiary Rounds don't do any damage to shields and barriers without such a multiplier. Okay, the listed damage is only affects health and armor traditionally, but if you were to add Incinerate into the mix, then it will start hitting shields and armor too, but at half damage. Same goes for Inferno Grenades. Now, Inferno Grenades does exclusively damage over time, and a lot of damage over time, okay? And if you went ahead and used the armor damage evolution in this power as well, you're going to get some crazy damage and another set of 1.5 multipliers to armor. And innately, Inferno Grenades actually does 1 times the damage to shields and barriers. So you're doing full damage to shields and barriers and incredible amounts of damage to armor with Inferno Grades mixed in with your Incendiary Rounds. The other powers then are Flamer. Okay, Flamer also does exclusively damage all the time, so all of the damage of Flamer is added to your Incendiary Rounds. But if you went and use the armor damage evolution that Flamer has, you'll get a 1.5 you get 2 1.5 multipliers to armor and a 1 times multiplier to shields and barriers. But alternatively, you could opt to go with the shield damage evolution that Flamer has, which will give you a 1.5 multiplier to armor, and then a 1 times and a 1.5 multiplier to shields and barriers, which can sort of even out your damage if you like. Although, really, armor is what you want to focus in taking down here, because that's obviously your meatiest health bar. Another odd one that gets added to Incendiary Rounds is actually the N7 Paladin's Fire Shield dot, okay? Because I'll get more into this when we look at the N7 Paladin, okay? But the Paladin's melee attack hits the enemy twice, and one hit of it is the contact damage, and this contact damage is split into 2 parts with the Fire Shield evolution. Okay, half of it's straight away, the other half is done as dot, and this half damage can be absorbed by your Incendiary Rounds, and that dot also comes with a 2 times damage multiplier to armor and a 1 times damage multiplier to shields and barriers. But what we're using right here is Warp. Okay, Warp's dot, which is obviously 25% of its listed damage. It just gets ridiculous. Okay, because with the Pierce evolution, we've got 2 1.5 multipliers to armor, a 1.5 multiplier, and a 2 times multiplier to barriers, okay, because that's what the Pierce evolution gives us. And it also then has a 0.5 multiplier to shields. That's amazing on its own, okay, just for just adding up the damage and then multiplying it repeatedly. But then you've got to also remember that we've got the Expose evolution, which works as a multiplier as well, okay. That debuff is going to multiply our damage by an additional 1.15, okay. So this is how it kind of adds up. With Incendiary Rounds 4, which do 50% of your weapons-based damage, which in this case, the Reegar Carbine at level 10 does 66 damage per projectile. So that's 33 damage per projectile with Incendiary Rounds. Which is 264 damage per shot because there's 8 projectiles, which would lead to 5,808 damage per clip of Incendiary Rounds, okay? And then you add in Warp's Dot, which will bring it up to 5,927, and then you're going to times that by the debuff for 6,816 damage, and then you're going to times that by the innate armor multiplier that Warp has for 10,224 damage, and then you can go ahead and times that by the Pierce armor multiplier for 15,335 damage, okay? And then you can go ahead and add in Warp's direct damage and your own weapon damage, and you do over 28,000 damage per clip, right? Or rather, you do over 28,000 damage within 3 seconds against armor, okay? I'm only focusing on the armor multipliers in this instant. What's 28,000 damage, you may wonder? Well, that's only pretty much all of the armor of a Platinum Praetorian. Okay, absolutely ridiculous stuff. But that is the power that we have in our hands here. Interesting stuff, I hope you'll agree. In fact, so interesting I've talked all the way to extraction. My bad. I hope you don't mind if I slow things down a bit here so I can give you some more choices with the Human Sentinel, because I imagine this might be a little too naughty for some of your liking. If you're starting out with this character today, I'd probably recommend the Predator for him, although you can obviously get the Katana to work on him because of all of his extra defenses. You know, for the same reasons, you can use the Phalanx or Eviscerator or Scimitar when you start unlocking your uncommon weapons. In fact, the Tempest would be great as well. That's a really decent weapon. And you can even get some of the shitter, for lack of a better word, assault rifles working as well. You can go ahead and use something like the Facetin or the Vindicator, which both have such bad accuracy, they really do need you to close in on your enemies. Although, obviously, the Mattock is probably your best choice in the uncommon category. When you start unlocking your rares, you can play around with something like the Hornet or the Carnifex. Although you're probably still going to do better damage with the Mattock. The Falcon's a really good assault rifle for this character, okay? It's an explosive weapon, which is going to, if you've gone with the Warp and Throw combo, just lets you do some really nice crowd control with this character. You know, just making you even tankier in a way. You can definitely get some good damage out with the Revenant, alright? That really pays off to get close with. But the rare shotguns are amazing, okay? If you went with the Geth Plasma Shotgun, that'll stun enemies and do a lot of damage. Raider and Claymore will just wreck up the place. You can obviously get nice and close and do the damage with them. And Piranha's amazing in both instances, okay? Just if you went with a normal sort of Battle Mage build of the Human Sentinel, or of course you can go ahead and do what I'm doing right now with the Piranha too. Once you're fortunate enough to possess Ultra Rares, you might want to give the Paladin a try, or the Talon would be sweet on this character. You can also use the Valiant. Okay, it's not too heavy, a sniper rifle, and the Indra would be good too, okay? The Wraith would be amazing on this guy, and as with the Venom, okay, if you thought the Falcon sounded like a good idea, the Venom will be an amazing one. You can also get some nice use out of the Valkyrie or the Lancer, okay? They'll just let you stay out there and keep your damage constant. Of course, you can't go wrong with the Carrier. The Cerberus Harrier obviously is going to be fine for you. In both instances, again, okay, that'll let you do some crazy damage with the Incendiary Glitch too. You might also want to try for the Incendiary Glitch, you might want to try the Typhoon, the Particle Rifle as I told you about, the Hurricane. That works in both cases, but the Hurricane will be really special with the Incendiary Glitch, and also the Collector Sniper Rifle, okay? Those are your weapon choices. For your ammo bonus, of course, I recommend the Incendiary Rounds, but if you're not using the Incendiary Glitch, just use something like Warp or, Armor Piercing, Drill, Cryo. Good weapon damage bonuses. For your armor bonus, I do recommend the Cyclonic, okay? The tech armor is good, but the human health isn't, alright? Get the Cyclonic modulator on, otherwise you can survive with something like the Adrenaline Rush, okay? The power efficiency can save your life too, if you've got a particularly heavy weapon. Stabilization module might even make your weapon work better for you, and of course you can use shield power cells, although they're not the greatest way to survive with this character, considering he's kind of built to get in close range with the enemy. When it comes to your gear, you just want to go with some kind of shield or weapon strength bonus, okay? It's also not a bad spot to pick up, you know, a recharge or stability bonus if you haven't got one already. But that's all I can say about the Human Sentinel. Hopefully that sparked some interest in the character for you. And if it has, please do let me know in the comment section, or just give the video a like, that helps me out too. Subscribe if you haven't as well, guys. I love all your support. I'm going to go see what Wisdom Manny has for me now. I'll catch you next week at the same Bwnci time on the same Bwnci channel. Same time not guaranteed.